This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. There were two golden nuggets within the hearing Judge Chutkan just held about the D.C. election interference criminal case against Donald Trump, and I want to bring them out here and analyze them, and they both are disastrous for Donald Trump. John Lauro on one side for Donald Trump, representing Donald Trump, a lawyer down from Florida, who's handling apparently that matter, and not Todd Blanche. On the other side, Tom Windham on behalf of Jack Smith, the special counsel, and we've got Judge Chutkan presiding. Let me go over the two nuggets and explain to you why they are disastrous for Donald Trump, who already had a terrible week. He got what was reported as a delayed sentencing until November the 26th, but that doesn't help him. That just leaves a shadow and shade cast on Donald Trump that he's now a convicted felon that has no real avenues for appeal, and the sentencing and certain decisions by Judge Merchan are going to be delayed well after the debate and well after people register to vote. That's terrible for Donald Trump. The second thing is his lawyers did terribly at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in arguing that the E. Jean Carroll sex assault abuse case against Donald Trump, where he was adjudged by two separate juries to have sexually abused E. Jean Carroll and owe her a total of almost $100 million. That appeal, that oral argument went terribly for Donald Trump's lawyer, John Sarro. And now we've got John Lauro, no relationship, who's making ridiculous arguments in front of Judge Chutkan, losing all credibility for future proceedings. And the revelation, here's the second nugget, that Jack Smith and his team are going to be able to present new evidence that the American public has never heard before in briefing that they're now ordered to file on the 26th of September by Judge Chutkan about the immunity decision. They're going to show a number of their cards and evidence we've never heard about before in order to get out from under the Supreme Court immunity decision that came out on July 1st. Two golden nuggets. One, John Lauro raised the issue that he is going to file a canon motion. I call it a canon motion. It's a motion to disqualify the prosecution and therefore dismiss the indictment because Jack Smith was improperly appointed under the appointments clause of the Constitution and improperly funded. The only judge in the history of federal jurisprudence who ever believed that was Judge Cannon. And John Lauro raised the issue towards the middle of the recent hearing on Thursday, and it was quickly shot down by Judge Chutkan. They can still file the motion, but Judge Chutkan said a couple of things that are important. But more importantly is what John Lauro said in response. Listen to this. Judge Chutkan said, well, let's start with Judge Cannon's decision down in Florida. Oh, here we go. Chutkan versus Cannon. Good luck to Cannon. She said, well, the Cannon decision was not really properly analyzed and is not persuasive, not particularly persuasive was the words that she used. She also said it's against binding precedent that comes from the D.C. Court of Appeals, which are Judge Chutkan's bosses, and ultimately the United States Supreme Court, to which John Lauro stood up and jumped up and down and said, oh, well, wait, we were directed to file that motion by none other than Justice Thomas. Stop. We said in a hot take, I said in a hot take that Justice Thomas in his concurrence was sending love notes to Judge Cannon and to the Trump lawyers, blowing kisses to them to file a motion to find that the special counsel should be disqualified. No other person on the Supreme Court believed that was true. And of course, right on cue, Trump heard it, filed it. Clarence Thomas set the table, and Judge Cannon put on a napkin, a knife and fork, and ate at it and ruled on it. So as a kid, I loved eating cereal. But as an adult, I don't want all that sugar, and most cereals don't give me the protein I need. Then I found Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like my childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with a ton of protein. And if you're already a Magic Spoon fan, I got big news. Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high-protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious, they've already become my favorite before and after gym snack. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, And there's so many more. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are crispy, crunchy, airy, and an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. My favorite is Magic Spoon's chocolatey peanut butter treats. And by the way, they're my wife's favorite too. They're our favorite late night snack. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/legalaf or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/legalaf for $5 off. Magic Spoon, hold on to the dream. Now, we said that as an analysis. We now have the admission by John Lauro. They took it as an instruction, an improper ex parte, if you will, communication from a sitting United States Supreme Court justice to them to file a certain motion because it'll be receptive, at least by him, in the future. You're not supposed to telegraph. It's unethical to telegraph what you're thinking about a future case that may be before you, and more importantly, to invite a certain type of appeal. But John Lauro said the quiet part out loud. We listened to Justice Thomas, and he gave us that instruction. He then he realized how ridiculous that sounded, although truthful. It's one of those rare, what we call Freudian slips in Washington, D.C., where somebody accidentally tells the truth. And he walked it back, but Judge Chutkan's ears perked up, and she said, he gave you an instruction to file it? Really? That's your position? And Laura was like, well, it wasn't an instruction, but maybe an invitation is the right word. Wow. And the other golden nugget from the hearing I want to bring out in this hot take is what it means for Donald Trump. By Judge Chutkan effectively adopting the entire briefing schedule that the prosecutors had proposed. Prosecutors proposed a very quick briefing schedule, simultaneous with all other issues through the month, as I said in a prior hot take, where I kind of nailed it. September, October, let's get this issue resolved, because ultimately the loser is going to appeal. It's going to go up on an immunity issue up to ultimately to the United States Supreme Court. And so what we didn't talk about on the prior hot takes or on Legal AF is now this is terrible for Donald Trump. Not only did Judge Chutkan adopt almost completely the prosecutor's timetable, but the prosecutors have said they're going to put on new evidence and show it to the judge and the world and the voting public in briefing now scheduled for the 26th of September. So after the debate, but before the voting registration ends in most states, in which they're going to air out new evidence. Well, that freaked out Trump's side. They don't want that. Just like they didn't want the pre-sentencing memo outlining all of the bad conduct by Donald Trump to be filed by the Manhattan DA in the state sentencing related to his 34-count felony conviction. They don't want the prosecutor to put on a mini trial in his brief about evidence that they're then, later in the news cycle are going to have to try to refute. So this was a terrible result that's not getting enough press or analysis, that not only are the deadlines now the ones that the prosecutor wanted, but there's going to be this new evidence that you and I are going to know about. I'm going to be able to report on here on the MeidasTouch network as early as the 26th of September when we get our hot little hands on it. So that is some of the takeaways that I think were missed in the Chutkan reporting on corporate media. We do it like this every time on Legal AF. Find out what 40 million people already know, that Legal AF is at the crossroads of law and politics and a home for it on YouTube. Join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. right there on Legal AF. We sit at that intersection, that crossroads of law and politics, so you don't have to. And we do it just like that. We curate a long format podcast. Wednesdays, I do it with Karen Friedman Agnifilo. Saturdays with Ben Mycelis. And then I do hot takes like this, I don't know, about every hour right here on the MeidasTouch network exclusively for them. So if you like what we're doing here, you can join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays on this YouTube channel and watch us live, record it. If you like to listen to your podcast the way I do, old school, you can go and plug in Legal AF. There is our album cover, and you can plug it in and pick it up on any audio podcast platform of your choice. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.